The free demo/prologue Pathologic 3 Quarantine is out now, available for everyone on Steam to download and play. It's not really a demo in the traditional sense, of course. For returning fans, you can expect something about the size of Pathologic 2 The Marble Nest, but slightly different. For new players, this would be a hell of a place to start. Maybe you should go play Pathologic 2 first, or at least watch H-Bomber Guy's Pathologic is Genius and Here's Why video. In Pathologic 2, players were always in the shoes of Artemy Barak. This was a bit of a shift from the Pathologic Classic, which gave the choice of starting as either Artemy, Daniil, or as Clara / the Changeling. In Pathologic 3, the majority of the playthrough, you are only controlling the Bachelor, Daniil, but during conversations, perspective suddenly shifts. You aren't just controlling Daniil's responses, but the responses of the person he's talking to. This is an excellent method for allowing players to really peel back all of the layers of Daniil's personality. Not only do you get to choose from all the arrogant, ignorant things the Bachelor is thinking, but you also get to see how those responses come off to everyone around him. Ice Pick Lodge has found a way to force players to pay even more attention to the dialogue in Pathologic 3 by doing this, as every chosen line of dialogue from either side of the conversation might set the player down a path they cannot come back from. It's excellent stuff. Now, in Pathologic 3, sick patients at the hospital must be diagnosed by the Bachelor before they can be treated. You're not Artemy anymore, after all, so you're not going to be cutting up bodies like in Pathologic 2. Instead, players have to speak to the patient and get their medical history, then examine different parts of their body. Afterwards, you're presented with a list of possible symptoms and the corresponding diseases, and you must determine what is wrong to the best of your, or at least Daniil's, ability. This is another fantastic method Pathologic 3 uses to make you pay attention. From every body part you examine costs time, and the assumptions that you make at first might not be correct. For instance, is that yellowing skin on the man's leg, or does it just look that way because he works at a dye factory? Are those veins really infected, or has the blood just kind of pooled there because he stands guard for a living? And like always, time is lacking in Pathologic 3. If someone tells you they don't drink, do you simply just put that on the chart? Do you believe them and move on? Or do you take the time to investigate their home to see if they're lying? Is one person's health worth the hours you could spend working on a cure for the entire town? These are the types of decisions that made Pathologic and Pathologic 2 so memorable, and that feeling returns in Pathologic 3 Quarantine 100%. Now, in Pathologic 3, Daniil has a few interesting abilities that are completely new to the franchise. One is a metronome-like device with the power to dispel plague shadows, and the other is an ability to focus and highlight things in the environment. At first, this might sound like basic video game detective vision nonsense, and it partially is, but it also provides an interesting opportunity for exposition. Looking at certain items in this view causes words to appear around them, descriptors that explain what Daniil's thoughts are when they looks at them. This comes in handy during both home and medical observations, as once Daniil has concentrated on something, he can then ask people about it, if it's relevant. It also helps to give insight onto why players can no longer drink from water fountains, save their game at clocks, or rummage through trash cans like Artemy did. Daniil just sees the world of Pathologic differently. The town on Gorkon in Pathologic 3 is pretty similar to how it was presented in Pathologic 2, but the way you explore it is different. You no longer have access to the entire open map at all times, and instead the town is split into district, which it already was, and you can only explore the district you are currently in. When moving between districts, a map screen opens up and you must select the location you want to travel to. Then a red line draws your path until you either enter the area you selected or enter an infected or dangerous district. Infected districts in Pathologic 3 function basically the same as they always have. You avoid the plague tornadoes, don't let infected people get close, try not to pay attention to all the horrors around you, basic stuff. The introduction of the metronome device allows Daniil to navigate these areas in a little bit more of a manageable way than Artemy did, even though the linearity of each infected area made getting through them a fairly simple process already. Most of the town's districts are unavailable in the demo, so hopefully there will be less of this linearity in the final release. The dangerous districts, on the other hand, are much more interesting. These are the parts of the town that have descended into chaos and rioting. Pointing a gun at an approaching thug will cause them to put their hands up and back away, allowing Daniil a chance to escape. However, if you do this to the same person too many times, they might assume you're out of ammo and rush you anyway. And then if Daniil pulls the trigger and actually shoots the attacker, then a number of interesting things happen. There are many actions which affect Daniil's mental state in Pathologic 3, and these are represented by their extremes, mania and apathy. If Dankovsky's mind moves too far in either direction, he will become uncontrollable. Becoming too apathetic will prevent you from being able to do your job, and becoming too manic will prevent you from making rational decisions. Daniil can't even talk to people if his apathy level is too high. Certain actions and events, like making a difficult decision, being insulted, or killing another human, can drastically change your mental state at a moment's notice. Drugs can counteract this, but only temporarily. And those previous two sentences can also be applied to Pathologic 3. Items such as morphine increase apathy, while things like camphor and tobacco increase mania. There are no items which reduce either mental state. When Daniil kills a person on the street with a gun in Pathologic 3, the screen buzzes and snaps back into place like an AV cord being jiggled. The body is just gone. Daniil doesn't see it anymore. It just simply doesn't exist to him. His mind wiped it out completely. Nothing is left but a deep feeling of apathy. Now, if you hadn't gotten to the ending of Pathologic 3 Quarantine yet, you may want to skip this last section. I'm not sure if a demo can have spoilers, but you might want to go into it with an open mind. And if not, you just want to watch videos, that's cool. We can keep going. It's not going to spoil that much because just like, say, Twin Peaks, Pathologic is very interpretive. Towards the end of Pathologic 3 Quarantine, Daniil is asked to both repeal and possibly enact a series of different decrees in order to prevent the disease from spreading while also keeping the town from rioting. I spent an agonizingly long time on the decision regarding what series of decrees in the right order would propagate the best results. What's really interesting is that you're not just changing that day's decrees. You can change what happened on the day before or the day after. Once the decision is made, the world shifts. You're still in the same location, but the situation that you're in has changed. The people in the room are different, because this is a new timeline that was born from new decisions that you just made. Daniil can tell the difference, but not very many others can. Pathologic 3's ending tells players that they were always right. In Pathologic, there is never enough time. However, the Bachelor can utilize this. In Pathologic 2, Artemy saved his game by finding clocks. At the end of the Pathologic 3 demo, Daniil Dankovsky uses these clocks to travel back in time. The actual implications of this and how interconnected all the time systems in the game will be in the final release remains to be seen. However, I think anyone familiar with Ice Pick Lodge should feel rather confident that the developers are doing exactly what you'd want them to be doing with this new entry in the series. I really enjoyed my time with Pathologic 3. I will have a more detailed write-up of all of my thoughts coming up on Bonus Action on Monday. That is the word bonus-action.com, where every Monday I have my weekly Ludology Now columns. And thanks for watching.